This is for new mm843 from Melbourne Musos Facechook Live, screening live tonight at 6 p.m. Tonight, Chris is going to take you through the subtle art of playing drums to a love song. Chris has just returned from his East Coast tour of Altona Meadows playing drums for Yoko Ono, supporting her new album, out now on the Please Make It Stop record label. Chris will also show you how to support a vocal group using 3-part harmony, with subtle Latin rhythms. This is Chris playing some background music at his latest corporate gig for Squatty from Marketing Real Estate. And in closing, here is one of Chris's advanced students, Ginger Elvis, playing the classic ballad, It's Now or Never.
It's now or never. Oh, hold me tight. Oh, there, my darling. Be mine tonight. Come down to the death metal gig with me. I'll buy you a free beer, and then you'll see.
This is for new mm843 from Melbourne Musos Facechook Live, screening live tonight at 6 p.m. Tonight, Chris is going to take you through the subtle art of playing drums to a love song. Chris has just returned from his East Coast tour of Altona Meadows playing drums for Yoko Ono, supporting her new album, out now on the Please Make It Stop record label.
Welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. What the hell is going on? Blah 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 blah. Hey, oh, what a chaotic opening. Hey, 3 of the best tempos I've ever heard. Hey, my name's Chris Quinlan and welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Mwah, to all of you. Oh, dramatic. Ooh, that's a grand piano patch. Steinway, in fact, I think. Hello, and there you have it. And what I'm going to talk about, I put a bit of a joke here. I always try and put a bit of humour into things, and my little bit of humour today was let's butcher some love songs, you know, sort of thing. Wise men say only fools rush in, and that's why I'll never get a Melbourne gig again. Thank you very much. Oh! And his mama cried. There you go. So what I'm going to do tonight is talk about getting around the edges, playing around the edges a little bit there. So it's going to be a bit of a jazzy thing. And what goes on is that when you're playing, you infer things, right? So you might... by inferring things. By inferring things, you can, it all depends on what you're hitting drums with. And what I've got here, I'll get into that first, and then I'm going to push it out a bit. I'm going to talk about a wonderful drummer later on. And this is a bit of a jazz thing. It's a little bit out there. And why not? And there you go. So what happens is, I'm going to start with a little thing called Things You Hit Drums With. Now, of course, we all know our beloved sticks. Oh, then we have mallets. We can have hard ones. For this, take the piano out. One of the things about these particular ones, this is a ProMark SD7 multi-stick. You can have others, you can have smaller ones like that. That's an SD5, small. It's a little bit like, almost like a 7A with a mallet on the end, right? And then you turn it around, and what happens with mallets, depending on whether they're hard or soft or, that kind of thing, they take the attack away from a cymbal. So you could be playing, ooh. Back to mallet there. Change it around. See? Get that there. There it is, you see? So, when you need quick changes, okay, sort of thing, there you go. Primarily designed for things like theatre productions and stuff, when you've only got one beat to go from a rolling cymbal to a snare drum passage or some such thing like that. So they're beautiful! Very interesting thing with the fulcrum, if I'm going to get a bit scientific with this, is because the mallet is on the end, okay, so what you have is your fulcrum there, but when you change it around, the fulcrum changes because of the weight ratio, you see. So it's a little bit different. Got the idea there? That's what the zoo ones do. And then, like, these are the hard felt mallets. Now to camera 2. And then you've got the soft mallets, which I love a lot. I might bring the piano back in now. Oh, hello. I'm feeling very Keith Jarrett-y here. The pianist Keith Jarrett. I've got a bunch of vinyl in the other room. Who remembers the Colne concert, the White Cupboard album? I love that album. It's very solo piano. Lots of solo piano. I'll put him up there. And played some beautiful stuff. So much of it's improvised. I mean everything. I mean it's jazz. I mean improvised. But he would just turn up and play. Now who remembers, if we want to talk about Keith Jarrett and his solo piano, brilliant pianist, played with everyone, Miles Davis and everybody. But are there any old timers out there that remember Keith Jarrett at the Dallas Brooks Hall around about 1978? I was 18. Now, I love Keith Jarrett. He does have one idiosyncrasy. He loves humming along to his solos. So what would happen is he'd get, with much love, play around the edges. Three of the best tempos I've ever heard. There you go. Yeah, he'd verbalise. Anyway, at the Dallas Brooks Hall, I already knew about this because I had about 4 of his albums. They were terrific. You know, sort of if you can get past the and all that sort of stuff. You know, it's like if he was backing up Yoko Ono. She made it. And there you go. So, and Keith Jarrett was doing his stuff, getting back to Dallas Brooks Hall, 1978 or thereabouts. And he was going, so he was doing this beautiful stuff, this beautiful improvisation. If you listen to his stuff, he plays all the scales, but this one's a Mixolydian. And people the jazz police started to go, and right at one point where he got to the and he just stopped, and you could hear the collective, and he got up, and it was a really hot day, and he said, anyone afraid of their own boredom should leave. He got the obligatory applause, and then he went back to playing, and he played the most violent stuff. He was banging and banging and banging. Went off and he got a standing ovation, and he got the encore, and he came back and he just played a lullaby. Just played a lullaby. It was a brilliant concert. Every emotion under the sun. That's what he did. There you go. But I haven't finished with things you hit drums with. What I have done is I have done sticks, I've done mallets, soft and hard. Now these beautiful fellas here. So what we've got is I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go to a thing called an overtone scale. Now, for those of you who don't know, an overtone scale has the first, second, third, sharp 4, very Lydian, 5, 6, flat 7 like a mixolydian, and an octave. And then we're playing around the edges. Now I better get on to the subject of tonight. Well, I'm already doing it, really. But tonight I'd like to talk about a drummer that I like a lot. He did a lot of playing. He started out with Bill Evans, the wonderful jazz pianist. Revolutionary in his own way with his voicings and all sorts of stuff. But he played with Bill Evans. And then good old Keith Jarrett, around about a decade or so. And I've got some wonderful vinyl of him playing together. And it really is him playing around the edges. And his name is Paul Motian, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit here. Oh, don't let me down, technology. I hope it's up. I had it up before. There he is there. Stephen Paul Motian. I'm going to put him up here. There he is. March 25th, 1931 to November the 22nd, 2011. He passed away on the way to 11 years ago. Was an American jazz drummer, percussionist, and composer. Motian played an important role in freeing jazz drummers from strict timekeeping duties. He could play 3 of the best tempos at the same time. Oh, and I'm just going to talk about him a little bit tonight. He first came to prominence in the late 1950s in the piano trio of Bill Evans. Like I just said, I would not lie to you. And there you go. And later was a regular in pianist Keith Jarrett's band for about a decade, around about 67 to 76. Motian began his career as a band leader in the early 1970s. Perhaps his 2 most notable groups were a long-standing trio of guitarist Bill Frisell and saxophonist Joe Lovano, and the electric bebop band where he worked mostly with younger musicians on interpretations of bebop standards. Isn't that wonderful? There you go. He was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. He was of Armenian descent. And basically that's what happened. He joined the Navy during the Korean War. There you go. And he briefly played with Thelonious Monk, then Bill Evans, with Scott LaFaro. Oh, wonderful stuff. And later with Chuck Israels. There you go. And Paul Bley, Keith Jarrett, beautiful pianists. I love Paul Bley. Ooh. And his wife, Carla Bley, is a great composer. There you go. Other musicians whom Motian performed and or recorded in the early period of his career included Lenny Tristano, Wayne Marsh, Lee Konitz, Joe Castro, Arlo Guthrie. Well, there you go. And Motian even played with Arlo Guthrie at Woodstock. There you go. Oh, they've mentioned Carla Bley. Beautiful there. Charlie Hayden and Don Cherry with a little pocket trumpet. Motian subsequently worked with musicians such as Marilyn Crispell, Bill Frisell, Lenny Stern, Joe Lovano, Gonzalo Rubalcaba, Alan Pasqua, Bill McHenry. Oh, the list keeps going on. There you have it. One of the things, and they mention ECM records too, which I've mentioned in the past, but one of the things, while I'm still on the track of things you hit drums with, one of the first videos I saw, he had these big-ass brushes. Oh, I've gone, what happened there? It's, ultraviolet light or something, God help me. These are Promark broomsticks, so if you play these, they're self-dusting. And he would, like, you'd be playing, like you'd be hearing it. You could hear the tempo. And I might go back to the Mixolydian mode here. Playing on the edges. Let's pick a tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, something like that, and it's like you could hear the tempo, and it's like, but then you play it out, but it's still there. It's almost like polyrhythmic in nature, but you're implying it rather than going, "Oh, look at me, play 3 against 2," or anything like that. Which is important to do. Don't get me wrong, but there it is. Oh, look at these big ass things there. Oh, there you go. So, now Doris is clean. And there you have that. That's the broomsticks, I tell you. Now, Paul Motian did a lot of work with Keith Jarrett, as I mentioned before. And ECM Records was brought up there. And one of the things about ECM Records with Manfred Eicher as the producer, they had a really European, beautiful sound. And Jack DeJohnette, one of my favourite drummers of all time, was basically, let's just get Jack in for this one. So he played on so many albums, and he had such a signature sound. And even just a few weeks ago, I talked about the flat ride cymbal, the ECM sound, which I used to have. I used to have a Peisty one, but now I've got, where it used to be is now the this big ass Benny Greb Crash Ride 22-inch. But basically, now but you just have this, and I tell my students that sometimes with certain jazz things, you just need the cymbals, like. What am I playing the snare drum? I'll bring it back in. And then Jack DeJohnette and Paul Motian used to do other things than just 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. So instead of, nothing wrong with that, get that going. 1, 2, 3. You've got to do that before you can do anything else. the wash through the mallet. Now, I'm going to go to what's known as the Hirajoshi scale. Given it's a bit harmonic tonight as well. Dramatic. That's a Hirajoshi scale. If you want to, yes, that's Sean Connery playing it. Yes, the Hirajoshi scale. Oh, money penny, I love it when you play the Hirajoshi scale. Yeah. First, second, flat third, fifth, flat sixth octave. There you go. So there's a couple of things where I have been doing different things with things you hit the drums with, and you're playing on the outsides. And tonight, I'll start to wrap it up. People like Paul Motian. Oh. Really, took it outside. In many cases, what often happens is with jazz, a lot of people say is leave the hi-hat. Leave the hi-hat for the band. I even wrote a piece for the syllabus. What is it? Grade 7, I think. Called grade 8 maybe. The lonely little hi-hat. Everyone's having fun. But the poor little my hat. Like designated driver. I'll be using it later on when I go to get my editing cordial. Yeah. There it is. There it is there. There you go. How out was this episode? So things you hit drums with. Oh, you can have your sticks, you can have your mallets, you can have hard ones. And you can have your soft ones, story of my life. And you can have the brushes. Isn't it beautiful? And look at these big old things over here. You can have all these sort of things here, little people. Oh, Uncle Arthur playing jazz with Keith Jarrett. There's Keith Jarrett there. Oh! And then he's backing up Yoko. Oh, avant-garde. Oh. And then the angels sing. Oh, my Lord. And I'll see you next week. I'll have this up tomorrow. Oh, my God, it's very loud, isn't it? Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. So my name is Chris. Listen, fellas. My name is Chris Quinlan. This is Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. Pretty out there, but a loving tribute to Keith Jarrett, but most of all Paul Motian, who's central. I did mention Jack DeJohnette and ECM Records. I'll put them up here. And some harmony tonight from behind the drum kit. Behind the drum kit. There it is there. Mixolydian overtone, Hero Josh, a couple of the different ones. And I hope you enjoyed the show, as bizarre as it is. There you go. All right. I shall love and leave you, and I'll see you all in the soup. There you go. Take care. Hey!
This is for Nulu Maikoshla from Melbourne Musos Facechook Live, screening live tonight at 6 p.m. Tonight, Chris is going to take you through the subtle art of playing drums to a love song. Chris has just returned from his East Coast tour of Altona Meadows playing drums for Yoko Ono, supporting her new album, out now on the Please Make It Stop record label. Chris will also show you how to support a vocal group using 3-part harmony, with subtle Latin rhythms. This is Chris playing some background music at his latest corporate gig for Squatty from Marketing Real Estate. And in closing, here is one of Chris's advanced students, Ginger Elvis, playing the classic ballad, It's Now or Never.
It's now or never. Oh, hold me tight. Oh, there, my darling. Be mine tonight. Come down to the death metal gig with me. I'll buy you a free beer, and then you'll see.
Blah, 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 blah,